So I started talking about some of these issues in my vlogs from last week, I think. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a full video. I'm the supplier, and this is Reading with Jack's Breaking the Spines tag. I want to preface this with I cannot separate my views about books from the experiences that I have with my students, because one of the primary functions of my collection, besides taking up an entire room in my house and making me happy, is to provide books to students when they can't get them from the library. It's why they call me the supplier. It has to do with my job being to help them become better readers. So the first question in Jack's tag is, do you break the spines or prefer to keep your books looking like new? Honestly, I prefer to keep my books looking like new. So much so that the books that I really love, I either buy electronic copies of because they can't be destroyed, or I have two physical copies of, one that my students can borrow and one that they can't. And I have a special shelf right there for those particular books. Though I am going to buy a new bookshelf soon, and I don't know where I'm going to put those, but yeah. The second question is, for those who don't like broken spines, have you ever accidentally broken one? And my response is most likely I have. It's not something I consciously remember having done, and so many of my books have broken spines. I'm not sure if it's because a lot of them are used, or because I broke them, or because more likely my students broke them. I'm actually quite anal about it, since I have to replace books if the pages fall out, particularly if they're books that are popular with my students. His third question, if you're buying a used book and the spine is broken, how do you feel about it? Well, the majority of the books that I buy are intended for student use, and my students either don't know how to treat books or don't care about treating them respectfully, so I'm not overly fussed about buying used books that have cracked spines. Most of the time, the used books that I buy are books that I have already read and are replacing books that have either fallen apart or somebody made off with. 4. Do you agree or disagree with the opinion that some people have on broken spines, meaning that the book is well loved? And in some cases I agree that the broken spine means the book is well loved. In the case of bibliophiles, or a book that is read over and over again, definitely. But given my answer to the third question, I can see how some, myself included, can, disagree. I usually have to explain that laying on the book breaks the glue that holds the pages in, which causes the pages to fall out, and they seem surprised when I tell them this. Though, I have to admit that my most well-loved book in my collection has neither a front cover nor a back cover, and the pages are falling out, and I've had it since I was probably 8 or 9. So take from that what you will. 5. Because the spines on hardback books cannot visibly break, do you prefer buying hardback books over paperback books? And I thought that this one was difficult. It really depends on what the book is. I mean, yes, on one hand, paperback books are cheaper, and I buy a lot of books. But when I'm thinking about the books that I really, really love, I much prefer to have them in hardcover, and I like dust jackets. But let me tell you, my students have found ways to visibly break the spines on hardcover books. In terms of books in a series, I prefer to have all of the books in the same format, though this almost never happens. Inevitably, I find out about a series after it's begun, so I read to catch up, and then I have to wait for the next one, and I can't help but buy it when it comes out because I am impatient. 6. Aside from breaking the spines, do you ever bend the corner of the page if you do not have a bookmark nearby? Absolutely not. See previous analness. And it drives me crazy when my students do it. I give them cards, basketball cards, playing cards, cards from the 39 Clues series to use as bookmarks in order to discourage said practice, and some of them do it anyway. I had a kid who filled an entire page down one time, but and I guess it's something that they don't consciously think about, but for me personally, no. I very rarely start books when I'm somewhere that I don't have something to stick in it, and most often I carry a couple of books with me, one I've already started and one to read if I finish the one that I had. and the bookmark then, you know, transfers. And last, anything else about spine obsessions and who you're going to untag, and one thing. I really hope that it didn't sound like I'm ragging on my students, because for the most part, I'm not. How to treat books is something they were either never taught or never internalized, because so many of them don't like reading that, you know, these are things that just happen to drive me a little bit crazy. And, you know, most of the time I can tell them about it. It's like, you're gonna crack it, and this is what's gonna happen. And, you know, they change their practices. I'm not gonna tag anybody. If you want to do it, do it. Go check out Reading with Jack's version. That is it for me today. I am the Supplier, wishing you happy reading. Don't forget to be awesome.